Time for Countdown's number 2 story, tonight's worst person in the world. The bronze to Republican State Senator Diane Black of Tennessee. It was her staffer, Sherry Goforth, who was responsible for forwarding this via state email. A collage of the presidents with Obama in the lower right-hand corner represented by just a pair of white eyes against a black background. But don't worry, State Senator Black has issued what she called a strongly worded reprimand.
And so therefore, as you have already stated, Ms. Goforth did get a verbal reprimand as well as a very strongly worded reprimand written. It was put into her file that if this should ever occur again, that she would be immediately terminated.
Goforth, which reads in full, Dear Sherry, this is a follow-up to confirm our conversation regarding the state email policy. First, as we discussed, email communications are for state use only and should not be used for purposes outside of the guidelines established. Also, as we discussed, no communication that is derogatory regarding any minority should be sent from this office, or that employee will be subject to termination of employment with my office. I know you take this policy seriously, and I am confident that you will abide by the policy. Your service to my office and the legislature has been commendable, with the exception of this incident, and I look forward to working together in the future within these guidelines. Sincerely, Diane Black. Well, that'll show her. You missed it, Senator. Not only did you need to fire Sherry Goforth, but you had the chance to say simply, Sherry, go forth. The runner-up is Karl Rove, complaining on Fox News about ABC's upcoming special on health care reform originating at the White House. When the news model said, it seems rather unprecedented, Rove replied, this is an unprecedented access to the White House. More importantly, an unprecedented use of the White House. I can't remember a time when a network came in and was going to devote a significant block of time to covering an issue that was on the president's agenda.
I suspect your research has discovered the memoranda that were written by John Moody and by Roger in terms of setting the tone for the day. The message of the day is a very political device.
Let's spend a good deal of time on the battle over judicial nominations, which the president will address this morning. Nominees who both sides admit are qualified are being held up because of their possible, not demonstrated, views on one issue, abortion. This should be a trademark issue for FNC today and in the days to come.
There was nothing covert about the way the managing editors in New York or Washington operated. They made it perfectly clear what they expected from us.
The so-called 9/11 Commission has already been meeting. This is not what did he know and when did he know it stuff. Do not turn this into Watergate.
Every morning there was a detailed list of subjects to talk about, not talk about.
Kerry's speech on the economy at Georgetown is likely to move on to the topic of Iraq. We should take the beginning of the Kerry speech and see if other news at the time is more compelling. It is not required to take it start to finish.
They were just actually issuing edicts to the reporters to control what they could say and how they could say it.
Let's refer to the U.S. Marines we see in the foreground as sharpshooters, not snipers, which carries a negative connotation.
When headquarters sent a memo every morning and said, we want to touch on the following issues, we want to cover the following stories, we want to do them in this particular way, our job and our objective then was to execute the plan.
The pictures from Abu Ghraib prison are disturbing. Today we have a picture, aired on Al Arabiya, of an American hostage being held with a scarf over his eyes, clearly against his will. Who's outraged on his behalf?
I've never heard of any other network nor any other legitimate news organization doing that, newspaper or broadcast.
How about the Iraq War, Karl? Well, more recently, in February last year, Fox ran what it called a documentary on President Bush, which actually opened with these words. Fox News has been granted unprecedented access inside the president's world. But our winner, columnist Charles Krauthammer, putting in his usually counterfeit 2 cents on Obama's media criticism from Tuesday with this quote, what's really interesting, the president yesterday has said, he complained about Fox and he said, I think accurately, that it is the one only voice of opposition in the media. The rest of the media are entirely in the tank and it's embarrassing. You would think it would be embarrassment that would deter them. Fox is the only voice of opposition? But of course that is not at all what Obama said.
First of all, I've got one television station that is entirely devoted to attacking my administration. And you'd be hard-pressed if you watched the entire day to find a positive story about me on that front.
So Charles Krautheimer twisted that to make it sound like Obama had said Fox was the only voice of opposition. What was the rest of that quote? It's embarrassing. You would think it would be embarrassment that would deter them. It doesn't work with Charles Krautheimer, today's worst person in the world.